Hello, thank you for watching TNT, and we start today's program, the first of the week, at the Penang International Airport on my way back from Penang to Phuket. And a few things I thought I should mention. Firstly, as is probably evident behind me, everybody at the airport, and I mean just about everybody, is wearing a face mask. I've got mine here because when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and I don't think it's necessarily legally required, but it certainly seems to be what people are doing here at the airport. Not so much when I was walking around Georgetown in Penang, but certainly here at the airport. Another thing I would like to mention is that when checking in to get my ticket back to Phuket, a few things were asked for, and I think this is important as we go through this sort of morphing and evolution of travel. But from Penang to Phuket, at least on Firefly Airlines, I was asked for, firstly, my vaccination certificates, which I had with me. Haven't been asked for those for a while, even when travelling through Singapore and back to Melbourne in the past month. But here, from Malaysia back to Thailand, it seems at the moment that they are checking on vaccination certificates. They even checked on the amount of vaccinations I'd had. I didn't go so far as asking, maybe I should, whether I would have been prevented from boarding the plane if I didn't have those vaccination certificates, but something to keep in mind. Just pop them in your luggage if you are travelling around Asia, because it seems that you may be asked for them. The other thing I thought I should mention is that I was also asked for an onward ticket outside of Thailand. So in other words, they were thinking, well, he's just a tourist. We want to see proof that he will be travelling out of Thailand when he goes in. Now, as it happened, I've got my visa and stuff so I can show that I'm resident in Thailand. So interesting that there were two things that I was being asked for: my vaccination certificates and also an onward ticket outside of Thailand. So just a few things to keep in mind as you travel around Asia at the moment. In my case, specifically from Penang back to Phuket, that it may indeed be the policy right now from Malaysia back to Thailand. Now, at the end of today's program, we're also going to be showing you a new charity that we're getting involved in, and we've already published it as a full video, but I've popped it at the end of today's program as well. But when we come back, I'll be back in Phuket, and we'll go through today's main news stories. And just like that, I'm back in Thailand. Thanks for joining us on TNT. Big news today, of course, is the meeting between the Chinese and US presidents. But over the weekend, there was an ASEAN meeting, a summit. Let's just check that out. This is from the Phnom Penh Post. Given that the summit was held in Cambodia, who are the chair of ASEAN this year, ASEAN and U.S. forged comprehensive strategic partnerships. There they all are, waving their right hands, doing the right thing. And two just bits I'll read out of this just to keep you updated. ASEAN and the US have agreed to upgrade their relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership to enhance cooperation in all sectors, as well as address challenges of common concern in the region and beyond, noting that, of course, ASEAN is mostly a trading bloc, although many times I think it sort of hides behind its bigger role by saying that, oh, we're just a trading bloc when it comes to sorting out some of the problems and the arguments within the Southeast Asian countries. But now, no, it's going to have a comprehensive strategic partnership with the United States. And down the bottom there, in a statement released on Saturday, the White House noted 5 new dialogues covering things like health, transportation, women's empowerment, environment and climate, energy, as well as deeper engagement in existing dialogues. So certainly both the US and China taking a bit more time in Southeast Asia at the moment to court the ASEAN countries, including Thailand. So it'll be interesting to see the way that the Thai government responds. I'm sure they'll put their hand out and see what happens. But to the big story, the meeting today between the President of China and the President of the United States. So I thought, well, I'll go to the Jakarta Post. That's the biggest newspaper in the country that's going to be hosting this summit today. And here we go. I went to the Jakarta Post and welcome delegates. Now, which leaders will attend? And when crowds are back, no, nothing there. No. Doesn't seem to be anything about the president's meeting today. Oh, hang on, down the bottom here. Latest on G20 Indonesia. Maybe it's there. Okay, so let's have a look here. G20, no, Jokowi, the Bali administration keeps an eye out for foreign protesters. What else have we got here? Transportation Ministry, no, nothing. So I was thinking, even the Jakarta Post doesn't seem to have an article about these two presidents meeting today, which I found a little bit bizarre. So, well, we went to the Straits Times, and yes, they do have an article. Xi and Biden meeting viewed with, at best, cautious optimism. And just the first two paragraphs, news of the Chinese and American presidents meeting today has been welcomed across the region as an opportunity for détente. Their meeting at the Group of 20 Summit in Bali will be their first in person since Mr. Biden took office and will take place after years of increasing hostilities between the two big powers. I'd have to pay to subscribe to read the rest of that article. I'm not a subscriber of the Straits Times, but they have another interesting article, an opinion piece, and this one saying that Southeast Asia could pay dearly for worsening U.S. China ties. And just a few paragraphs here. The dangerous deterioration of U.S. China ties has grave and far-reaching implications, including for ASEAN states. Regional leaders should make clear their concerns to the two great superpower rivals, and just picked a couple of paragraphs out of this editorial. I'll put a link in the description to this editorial if you'd like to read more. The strategic competition between the US and China worsened sharply after Russia invaded Ukraine. It's often been asked if Ukraine has affected the way China thinks about Taiwan and reunification. It probably has on many levels, though China was never going to be affected by Russia's plans. China has its own timetable. And another interesting line out of this quite long editorial, the Biden administration's Chips and Science Act, passed in August, together with the National Security Advisor's speech to the Global Emerging Technologies Summit, was in effect a declaration of a technology war on China. So anyway, there is a link to that particular article, an opinion piece in the Straits Times in the description today. And at least we did get a picture of the area, the room where the two leaders are meeting today. There it is. So if very few of the publications seem to be writing anything before today's meeting, I'm sure there'll be quite a lot of news coverage around the world at the conclusion of today's meeting between the two superpowers. This is the TNT program. Thank you for watching, and thanks to our sponsors, 5 Star Marine. There's a link to their website in the description of this video. Thank you, 5 Star Marine. And yesterday, of course, I was in Penang, did the start of the program there, and I was wearing this black t-shirt, so I thought, oh gee, for continuity, I better make sure I wear the black t-shirt for today's program. So I raced home and I threw this in the washing machine, and I've been drying it all night, and to be honest, it is a little bit damp. And I'm thinking, really, you don't care too much about continuity. I don't think you're here for the continuity. Back to Thailand now, and we're moving into sort of the APEC week. The PM urges unity for APEC. The subline there, protest leader says action still planned. Public gatherings have been banned at 20 inner city areas in Bangkok until November the 19th to prevent disturbances to the APEC summit and meetings at the venue and near delegates' hotels. And down the bottom there, the clampdown follows rumours that protests will be held during the event. Police last week appealed to protest groups to hold demonstrations at the designated site. So a sort of a quiet site, away from everybody, away from the cameras, away, of course, from the delegates' eyes. And I'm not sure if the protesters are going to comply with the rules that have been set for them. Just also noting in that particular article, speaking in Phnom Penh, where he attended the ASEAN Summit, General Prayut called on the public to join the government in welcoming the APEC leaders. And then, as chair of APEC, the event provides the kingdom an opportunity to drive the global agenda. Really? and gain wider recognition in the international community. Just noting that when you go to Suvarnabhumi Airport and you arrive by car, you drive past about 35 of those huge billboards. Most of them have been, well, very quiet in regards to advertising over the past 2 years. I have noted a couple of ads creeping up from time to time, but over the past 6 months, it's all been, the only ads I've actually seen have been APEC ads. Ones like this: all ties are proud to be the hosts of APEC 2022. So there has been a lot of money spent on billboards and other goodwill advertising in the lead up to APEC. And of course, the delegates have to drive past all these billboards when they arrive at Suvarnabhumi Airport, making their way into Bangkok. Let's move on to some other news today. And immigration ramps up checks on foreigners. Since the start of October, authorities have barred over 2,000 individuals from entering the country, many of whom were already on the immigration blacklist. Also saying that authorities will also monitor the activities of foreign residents more closely during the summit. So I came in yesterday without any troubles. In fact, immigration was very quiet. There had been plenty of photos of empty immigrations and chock-a-blocker immigration halls over the past few weeks. I did note, though, as we landed, there were 3 jets taking off all at once, all from India, actually. And so if we'd arrived probably 2 or 3 hours earlier, the situation may have been different. But down the bottom there, those who are found to be involved in suspicious activities will be questioned and deported, says the Immigration Minister. Just some other stories, and we know that we've got the unofficial election campaign underway. Thai PBS World saying poll: Thailand's central provinces want Pattongtarn Shinawatra as the next Prime Minister. Noting that Pattongtarn is the youngest daughter of Thaksin Shinawatra. We've had Thaksin Shinawatra, we've had his sister, Yingluck, and now we've got Pattongtarn, his youngest daughter, vying perhaps to be Prime Minister. But do people want her? So the red line there showing the provinces where this poll was held, including a lot of the provinces around Bangkok, but not Bangkok itself. So to the results, and the poll shows 24% of the respondents want Pattongtarn, the head of the Pertai family, as the next Prime Minister. She's not the head of the party, but she's sort of become the titular head, or the sort of the patron of Pertai. Move Forward Party leader came second in the poll with 16.73% of respondents saying that he represents a new generation Thais, and the Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, came third with 15% voting in his favour for his honesty and experience of running the country. I dare say if they held this poll up in the north and the northeast of Thailand, they might get a completely different result, with Pattongtarn probably getting over 30 or 40% of the support from the people up in those areas. So a survey there over the weekend as the election campaign, starts to sort of warm up. And Aeroflot adds 14 more weekly Russian flights to Phuket. This story from the Tiger. And the second paragraph there, the increase in flights has opened the floodgates of Russians pouring back into Phuket. Between May and September, Russian tourist arrivals averaged about 3,000 to 4,000 per month. Last month, that number ballooned to 23,000. I noted in the program last week, showing the immigration arrivals, that Russians are by far now the most populous demographic coming into Phuket, and basically that number is reflected around Thailand. And just that last paragraph there, so far this month, Russia has dwarfed other demographics arriving in Phuket. Russians doubled the number of arrivals coming from India, the second biggest demographic, and more than tripled the third biggest demographic of Australia. So we do see a big change in the demographic mix. We discussed that in our live program on Saturday morning here at TNT. So we'll be watching that sort of development of the changing tourist mix in Thailand with considerable interest. Now, I did mention at the very start of the program that I released a video yesterday about what I was doing with the old flowery shirts, the floral shirts, and how we're going to put them to good use and auction them off and give the proceeds to a charity called Seeds of Change. So we'll check that out now. to Phuket. Welcome to Koh Sarai. Only just an island though, separated from Phuket town on the east coast by a short bridge. And that little strip of water between Phuket and Koh Sarai used for fishing boats and other local marine activities. Koh Sarai's got a growing number of really fabulous hotels along its east coast. It's also the home of the place we're visiting today. Ever since I started TNT, I was thinking about what one day we might be able to do to sort of give back to the community, to do something useful. I met Sam McHugh a few months ago, and she was telling me about this project called Seeds of Change. The idea was that they were going to get repurposed fabrics and turn them into toy elephants. And at the same time, she was going to upskill local people in the area who were obviously heavily affected by COVID and teach them sewing skills so they could make more toy elephants and other bits and pieces from the repurposed fabrics. Now, you all know me in the past for these shirts. Now, I'm actually going to keep this shirt, but all the others, some, I don't know, 15, 20 shirts, I've donated to Seeds of Change. So they can be turned into toy elephants and maybe toy soy dogs and other things. And then we're going to auction them off. So Sam, how did you get into making these elephants?
So during COVID, I printed off an elephant pattern off the internet, and I decided to make one because I was really bored. I had a friend at the time that was running an elephant sanctuary, and we had an idea to make these and sell them and feed the elephants. And it snowballed from there.
So at one stage you decided then you needed either to get some more help, or you had the idea of upskilling people in the community to learn how to sew.
Yes, so we have people that I was working with previously at Seeds of Change that could sew and do crafts. But what we then did is brought this into it, and we taught them how to make the elephants. And then it just grew and grew from there. We make elephants, we make bags, we make everything now. And they're all from old shirts like yours, old dresses, old tablecloths. This is from an old tablecloth from India. This is a tablecloth. I'm not sure where this is from. And this was just some donated children's fabric that we've got.
So you can make it from anything, including my crazy shirts, which we'll get to in a moment. But throughout the process, over the last 2 or 3 years, how many people have you sort of taught to sew?
So at the moment we've got 5 new students. We've had about 6 in addition to that go through already. Some of them are freelancing for us now. They're making these and they get paid for them. And then we just, as the people come through, we train them. We teach them to make elephants. After the training's finished, we give them freelance work to make elephants. They can do it possibly from home. They can come here. We kind of make it work for everybody. So, and then all the money that we make from the sale of these, which have gone all around the world, we put back in to train more people. And okay. It goes full circle.
So I got something for you. Here they are in the special Mickey Mouse bag.
Ooh.
So these are all the shirts that I used to wear when I was doing video that I've sort of moved on fashion-wise. You may not think so. I actually sort of like this one.
I want that one.
No, I'm keeping this one. But here you go.
I'm going to have that shirt one day.
There you go.
Oh my God.
So you've got some pretty crazy shirts there.
Oh my God. These are going to make awesome elephants. Sorry, but they're going to make awesome elephants.
So I don't know, how many out of a normal shirt, and I'm sort of a medium to large,
okay.
How many
Let me look at it.
How many elephants would you sort of be able to make?
I think small elephants out of this shirt, we could probably make 4 to 5 out of
Really?
This shirt. Yeah, we could make 4 or 5 out of this shirt. And then what we could do, all the offcuts, all the sleeves, all this kind of stuff, we can use for elephant ears. We also make bags. So we can use all this stuff to be in addition to our bags that we make too.
All right, so the idea is that we're going to give you these shirts. These shirts have got a bit of history because they sort of became a bit of a thing when I was doing YouTube at another place. And a lot of people used to talk about the shirts, where do you get the shirts? And people used to donate some of the shirts.
Oh,
so
really?
some of these shirts that you donated are actually ending up doing some good. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you to repurpose them,
Yes.
and then we're going to auction them off.
Oh, really?
Elephants, bags, whatever you make with them.
Okay.
And then whatever we make, 100% of that money we'll give to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's going to be amazing.
Well, we haven't done it yet, but
Yeah, we can work on it, but this is going to be so much fun. To be honest with you, these fabrics are just so good.
yeah, the actual fabric material's good. A lot of the shirts they gave
really
me.
good
Yeah.
quality, and you know that they represent where we are. They're
Oh,
funky,
sure.
they're tropical,
A bit like me.
funky and tropical.
Sure. So it's a bit of a working bee here today at Seeds of Change, and in the next couple of weeks Sam and her team are going to be turning all those crazy shirts into repurposed toy elephants, toy soy dogs. We'll see what they come up with. And then we're going to offer them to auction. 100% of everything that you pay for one of these toys will be donated to Seeds of Change, and could also be a bit of a fun memento from my days of flowery shirts, which mostly are now behind me. Anyway, that's all to come in the next few weeks. Let's see what they come up with here at Seeds of Change. But for now, thanks for watching TNT.